deep inside the Nevada desert. Beyond dry lake beds, mountain ranges, and warning signs threatening deadly force, lies one of the most famous secret facilities in modern history. Area 51. A place surrounded by conspiracy theories, military secrecy, UFO sightings, and decades of government denial. But behind the myths, lies a far stranger reality. For generations, Area 51 has occupied a strange place in the human imagination. To some, it is a hidden laboratory containing alien spacecraft. To others, a prison for extraterrestrial beings recovered from crashed UFOs. A classified fortress where the United States government hides secrets too dangerous for public knowledge. And to millions more, it is simply a mystery. A blank space on the map where imagination rushes in to replace facts. Human beings are deeply uncomfortable with silence. If information disappears long enough, mythology inevitably volunteers to fill the gap. Area 51 sits within the Nevada Test and Training Range, roughly 75 miles northwest of Las Vegas. The facility surrounds Groom Lake, a dry salt flat hidden among barren mountains and desert valleys. For decades, the U.S. government refused even to acknowledge the base officially existed. No public signs marked it. Maps omitted it. Employees traveled under strict secrecy. And around the perimeter stood armed security patrols watching constantly from the desert hills. The silence surrounding the base became part of its power. And part of its legend. But the true origins of Area 51 had nothing to do with aliens. They began with fear. Cold War fear. In the 1950s, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union escalated rapidly. Both superpowers raced to develop nuclear weapons, missiles, surveillance systems, and advanced aircraft capable of spying deep behind enemy lines. American intelligence agencies faced a major problem. They knew almost nothing about Soviet military capabilities. And in the nuclear age, ignorance itself could become fatal. So the Central Intelligence Agency began searching for a location isolated enough to test revolutionary new aircraft far from public attention. They found it in the Nevada desert. Remote. Empty. Hidden behind mountains and military restrictions. A place where secrecy could survive. In 1955, the CIA officially established the Groom Lake testing facility. Its first mission centered around one aircraft. The Lockheed U-2 spy plane. Designed during the height of Cold War paranoia, the U-2 could fly higher than any operational aircraft on Earth at the time. So high, in fact, that ordinary civilians often mistook it for something impossible. Something not made by humans. A UFO. The CIA later acknowledged that test flights of the U-2 contributed significantly to the explosion of UFO reports during the 1950s and 1960s. Commercial aircraft typically flew below 20,000 feet. The U-2 operated above 60,000 feet. To witnesses on the ground, the aircraft appeared unnatural. Silent. Glowing in sunlight at impossible altitudes. Moving in ways no known plane could. And because the government refused to explain what people were seeing, speculation spread rapidly. Alien visitors became easier to believe than secret military technology. Honestly, humanity has always preferred cosmic mystery over paperwork and defense budgets. Far more cinematic. As Area 51 expanded, so did the secrecy surrounding it. The facility became home to some of the most advanced aircraft programs in American history. The A-12 Oxcart, the predecessor to the legendary State Route 71 Blackbird. Stealth technology. Experimental reconnaissance systems. Advanced drones. Aircraft so futuristic in appearance that witnesses often struggled to describe them coherently. Many sightings reported as UFOs likely involved classified military testing hidden behind layers of official denial. Because secrecy creates the perfect environment for myth-making. And Area 51 became the greatest myth-making machine in modern American history. Yet the government's refusal to discuss the facility only intensified public obsession. Former employees remained silent. Pilots signed lifelong secrecy agreements. Even acknowledging the base publicly could provoke legal consequences. The less officials said, the more conspiracy theories multiplied. By the 1980s and 1990s, Area 51 had evolved beyond a military installation. It became cultural mythology. Hollywood embraced it. Books sensationalized it. Television documentaries transformed it into the center of extraterrestrial speculation. And then came one of the most controversial figures in Area 51 history. A man named Bob Lazar. In 1989, Lazar publicly claimed he had worked near Area 51 at a hidden site called S4. According to his story, the U.S. government possessed alien spacecraft and reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology. His interviews spread internationally. For believers, Lazar became a whistleblower exposing unimaginable secrets. For skeptics, he became part of a growing ecosystem of conspiracy culture surrounding the base. To this day, no verified evidence has confirmed his claims. Yet the story endured. Because Area 51 had already become larger than evidence itself. It had become an idea. A symbol representing humanity's suspicion that governments always know more than they admit. And occasionally, to be fair, governments encouraged that suspicion with astonishing enthusiasm. Meanwhile, inside the base, reality continued. Aircraft testing never stopped. Declassified records later confirmed the development of numerous advanced military projects at Groom Lake over decades. Many technologies first tested there remained classified for years before eventually entering public view. Some likely remain secret even now. Because military technology advances constantly. And somewhere in the Nevada desert, engineers are probably testing aircraft that would look impossible to civilians today. Exactly as they did in 1955. For decades, the U.S. government maintained official silence regarding Area 51. Then, in 2013, declassified CIA documents finally acknowledged the facility publicly. Not alien laboratories. Not captured flying saucers. But a secret testing ground for Cold War aviation projects. For many observers, the revelation solved the mystery. For others, it changed nothing. Because conspiracy theories rarely disappear when governments release information. Sometimes they grow stronger. After all, if officials admitted lying for decades about one secret base, what else might still remain hidden? By the 21st century, Area 51 had become one of the most recognizable secret locations on Earth. Tourists drove Nevada highways hoping to glimpse strange lights in the sky. Internet forums analyzed satellite images obsessively. Rumors spread endlessly across documentaries, podcasts, and social media. Then in 2019, millions of people jokingly signed up online for an event called Storm Area 51. The idea was absurd. Raid the military base. Discover the truth. See them aliens. The U. Military responded with unusual seriousness. Officials warned trespassers would be arrested or potentially met with force. Fortunately for humanity, the internet once again proved vastly more effective at creating memes than organized invasions of heavily guarded military facilities. A reassuring limitation of the species. Today, Area 51 remains active. Still restricted. Still monitored. Still hidden behind fences, cameras, and armed patrols. No verified evidence has ever confirmed extraterrestrial activity there. But secrecy itself continues feeding speculation. Because the less people know, the more imagination expands to occupy the empty space. And perhaps that is the real story of Area 51. Not aliens. Not spacecraft. But the strange relationship between secrecy and belief. Between governments and public trust. Between human curiosity and the terrifying possibility that somewhere, hidden behind locked doors, someone might already know something the rest of us do not. In the Nevada desert, the lights still move across the night sky. Aircraft still disappear behind distant mountains. And beyond the warning signs, Area 51 remains exactly what it has always been. A secret. Long before the internet. Before viral videos and conspiracy forums. Americans were already staring into the night sky searching for answers. And during the Cold War, fear itself became airborne. The modern UFO era began in 1947. 2 years before Area 51 officially existed. That summer, a private pilot named Kenneth Arnold reported seeing strange objects flying near Mount Rainier in Washington state. He described them moving rapidly across the sky, like a saucer skipping across water. Newspapers seized the phrase immediately. Flying saucers. Within weeks, sightings spread across the United States. Pilots. Police officers. Military personnel. Ordinary civilians. Thousands claimed to see unexplained objects in the sky. Some reports were likely mistakes. Others exaggerations. Some outright fabrications. But many witnesses genuinely believed they had observed something extraordinary. And once a society begins expecting mysteries in the sky becomes full of them. Human perception is wonderfully unreliable under the right conditions. Then came Roswell. In July 1947, the U. Military announced that personnel near Roswell had recovered a flying disc from a ranch. Hours later, the statement changed. Officials claimed the object was merely a weather balloon. The contradiction fueled decades of speculation. Conspiracy theories exploded. Alien crash stories emerged. Secret government cover-ups entered American culture permanently. Years later, the U. Government explained the debris actually came from Project Mogul, a classified surveillance balloon program designed to monitor Soviet nuclear tests. But by then, the mythology had already escaped containment. Once people suspect a cover-up, every correction becomes further evidence of conspiracy. An exhausting feature of human psychology. As Cold War tensions intensified, UFO sightings increased dramatically. Partly because the skies themselves were changing. New aircraft appeared constantly. Experimental jets. High-altitude reconnaissance planes. Rocket tests. Military projects hidden behind layers of secrecy. And hidden technologies often look supernatural before they become normal. During the 1950s, American intelligence agencies worried about Soviet nuclear capabilities obsessively. The CIA and U.S. Air Force launched surveillance programs unlike anything previously attempted. Many of these operations remained deeply classified, which meant civilians observing unusual objects received no explanation. The government simply denied knowledge. And silence creates fertile ground for mythology. In 1952, panic intensified further. Multiple UFO sightings were reported above Washington, D.C. Radar operators detected strange objects near restricted airspace. Fighter jets scrambled unsuccessfully. Newspapers exploded with headlines about flying saucers over the American capital. For many Americans, extraterrestrial visitation suddenly felt plausible. In reality, later investigations suggested atmospheric conditions and radar anomalies likely contributed to the incident. But uncertainty itself became powerful. Because people fear what cannot be explained clearly. Especially during periods of geopolitical anxiety. The U.S. government recognized that UFO hysteria posed a genuine national security concern. Not because aliens threatened America. Because public panic and misidentification could overwhelm military communication systems during wartime. Imagine nuclear tensions with the Soviet Union while civilians flood authorities with reports about glowing objects over military sites. Human beings do struggle magnificently at distinguishing existential threats from reflections in the sky. To manage the growing phenomenon, the U.S. Air Force created Project Blue Book in 1952. Its mission was straightforward. Investigate UFO reports scientifically. Determine whether sightings posed national security risks. Over 17 years, Project Blue Book collected more than 12,000 reports. Most were eventually explained. Weather balloons. Astronomical objects. Aircraft. Optical illusions. Hoaxes. But hundreds remained officially unidentified. Not necessarily alien. Simply unresolved. A crucial difference many people enthusiastically ignored. Meanwhile, Area 51 entered operation deep in the Nevada desert. And almost immediately, sightings around the region increased. The explanation was surprisingly mundane. Secret aircraft. The U-2 spy plane flew at altitudes ordinary civilians had never witnessed before. Sunlight reflected off silver fuselages high above commercial air traffic. To observers on the ground, the objects appeared impossible. Silent. Fast. Unreachable. Alien explanations felt reasonable because official explanations did not exist. The government could not reveal classified reconnaissance programs. So myths flourished instead. Throughout the 1960s, Area 51 tested increasingly advanced aircraft. The A-12 stealth prototypes. Experimental drones. Many designs looked radically different from conventional airplanes. Sharp angles. Unusual silhouettes. Extreme speed capabilities. Pilots reported strange lights during test flights. Civilians described impossible maneuvers. And once again, secrecy transformed military engineering into extraterrestrial legend. Honestly, if you build triangular aircraft in total secrecy and fly them through desert skies at night, you cannot seem genuinely shocked when people assume aliens are involved. Hollywood embraced the mythology enthusiastically. Films and television transformed Area 51 into the ultimate secret location. Alien autopsies. Underground laboratories. Captured spacecraft. Government conspiracies spanning decades. By the late 20th century, UFO culture had merged with entertainment, paranoia, and genuine public distrust of institutions. The line between fiction and belief blurred constantly. And the more governments concealed legitimate military projects, the more conspiracy theories appeared believable. Then came the testimony of former military personnel and alleged insiders. Some claimed they had witnessed impossible technology. Others described secret programs involving recovered non-human craft. Most claims lacked verifiable evidence. Yet public fascination only grew stronger. Because Area 51 represented something larger than UFOs themselves. It represented uncertainty. The suspicion that official narratives are incomplete. That somewhere beyond public view, hidden truths exist. Humanity has always been drawn toward forbidden knowledge. From ancient myths to classified documents. Same instinct. New century. The rise of the Internet transformed UFO culture completely. Online forums connected believers globally. Videos spread instantly. Satellite imagery allowed amateur investigators to examine remote locations from home. Area 51 became one of the most analyzed places on Earth without most people ever seeing it directly. Every blurry photograph. Every leaked document. Every strange light over Nevada generated endless speculation. And in the digital age, mystery spreads faster than facts ever can. In recent years, the U.S. government has publicly acknowledged investigating unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. Military pilots recorded encounters with unusual objects displaying behavior not immediately understood. Congressional hearings examined the issue publicly. NASA launched studies into unexplained sightings. Importantly, none of this confirmed extraterrestrial life. Only that some aerial observations remain unresolved. But for many people, even official uncertainty feels revolutionary. Because governments spent decades dismissing UFO discussions entirely. Now suddenly, the conversation had changed. And once institutions begin admitting uncertainty, imagination accelerates rapidly. Yet despite decades of rumors, investigations, documentaries, and speculation, no verified evidence has ever proven that Area 51 houses alien spacecraft or extraterrestrial beings. The strongest documented evidence still points toward advanced military research hidden behind extreme secrecy. Which is already fascinating enough, frankly. Human beings somehow looked at secret Cold War spy planes and concluded, clearly this involves interstellar visitors. An ambitious leap. Still, the mythology endures. Because Area 51 is no longer merely a military base. It has become modern folklore. A place where Cold War secrecy collided with humanity's oldest questions. Are we alone? What exists beyond our understanding? And can governments ever truly keep secrets forever? Somewhere beyond the Nevada mountains, aircraft still rise into the night sky. Radar still watches the darkness. And millions of people still look upward, wondering whether the next unexplained light belongs to human technology. Or something else entirely. Beyond the warning signs. Beyond the motion sensors and desert patrols. Lies a facility the United States government once insisted did not exist. Not because it contained aliens, but because it contained something almost as valuable during the Cold War. Technological superiority. To understand Area 51, it is necessary to separate mythology from machinery. Behind decades of conspiracy theories stood a far more concrete mission. Build aircraft the Soviet Union could not detect. And build them before the Soviet Union did the same. During the Cold War, information became a weapon. The nation capable of seeing farther, flying higher, and striking faster gained enormous strategic advantage. Area 51 existed to create that advantage in secret. The facility itself was designed for isolation. Surrounded by desert mountains and military testing ranges, Groom Lake offered natural protection from public observation. Access roads were heavily monitored. Airspace above the region became among the most restricted in the world. Even employees often knew little about projects outside their assigned duties. Compartmentalization became central to the culture of the base. Know only what you must know. Ask fewer questions. And never discuss work outside secure areas. Governments do enjoy inventing environments where paranoia becomes an employment requirement. Employees traveled to the facility on unmarked aircraft later nicknamed Janet Airlines. White planes with minimal markings transported workers daily from Las Vegas to hidden runways inside the base. Thousands of people passed through Area 51 over decades. Engineers, pilots, security personnel, radar specialists. Most disappeared into silence afterward. Not because they encountered extraterrestrials. Because violating classified secrecy laws tends to complicate retirement plans significantly. One of Area 51's earliest major successes was the U-2 spy plane. Designed by Clarence, Kelly, Johnson and Lockheed's Skunk Works division, the aircraft changed modern intelligence gathering forever. The U-2 could fly above 70,000 feet. Higher than Soviet defenses initially believed possible. From those altitudes, cameras captured military installations, missile sites, and nuclear facilities deep inside Soviet territory. For the first time, American intelligence agencies could observe their greatest rival directly. The aircraft became one of the most important surveillance tools of the 20th century. And Area 51 became its hidden birthplace. But technology evolves quickly during arms races. Soon, even the U-2 appeared vulnerable. The CIA and U.S. Air Force demanded something faster. Something nearly untouchable. The result became the A-12 Oxcart. A sleek black reconnaissance aircraft capable of speeds exceeding Mach 3. Over 2,000 miles per hour. At such velocity, the aircraft generated immense heat simply from moving through the atmosphere. Engineers at Area 51 tested exotic materials, fuels, and designs to keep it operational. Pilots described flying the aircraft as balancing on the edge of physics itself. One small error at those speeds could become fatal instantly. Human beings do possess remarkable confidence for creatures whose brains panic during minor internet outages. The A-12 eventually evolved into the legendary State Route 71 Blackbird, one of the fastest aircraft ever built. Even decades later, parts of its technology remain impressive by modern standards. To civilians occasionally glimpsing strange black aircraft streaking across desert skies, the machines appeared unreal. And unreal things naturally attract unreal explanations. Especially when officials refuse to answer questions. Area 51 later became central to another revolution in warfare. Stealth technology. During the 1970s and 1980s, engineers worked on aircraft designed not merely to fly fast, but to become nearly invisible to radar. The result was the F-117 Nighthawk. Angular. Dark. Unlike anything previously seen publicly. Its strange shape looked almost alien even to experienced pilots. At night, during secret test flights over Nevada, witnesses reported triangular craft moving silently across the sky. Many UFO stories from that era likely involved stealth prototypes decades ahead of public awareness. Because military secrecy often resembles science fiction before becoming history. Life inside Area 51 remained intensely controlled. Workers underwent extensive background checks. Phones and cameras were prohibited in sensitive areas. Security systems monitored constantly. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter. Even today, signs around the restricted zone warn that deadly force may be authorized against intruders. An unusually aggressive method of saying, "Please respect the fence." The secrecy surrounding the facility created psychological effects as well. Employees sometimes used code names for projects even among coworkers. Rumors spread internally despite strict controls. Some workers reported seeing aircraft or technologies they themselves could not identify. And in environments built around secrecy, uncertainty multiplies naturally. People begin imagining hidden layers beneath the hidden layers. Even inside the system itself. Then came the claims that transformed Area 51 from military installation into global obsession. In 1989, Bob Lazar appeared on television claiming he had worked on extraterrestrial technology near the base. According to Lazar, hidden facilities studied alien propulsion systems recovered from crashed spacecraft. His interviews described anti-gravity engines, secret hangars, and non-human technology. Scientists challenged many of his claims. Investigators questioned his background and employment history. Yet the story spread internationally. Because by then, Area 51 already existed in public imagination as the perfect location for impossible secrets. A hidden desert fortress where anything could seem believable. As UFO culture exploded during the 1990s, Area 51 became deeply embedded in entertainment. Films. Video games. Television series. Alien invasion stories almost automatically referenced the base. The facility transformed into shorthand for government secrecy itself. A modern mythological location. Like Atlantis. Or El Dorado. Except guarded by surveillance cameras and military contractors. Meanwhile, Real operations continued quietly behind the perimeter. Advanced drones. Experimental radar systems. Hypersonic research. Electronic warfare technologies. Much remains classified even today. Former officials occasionally hint that some aircraft tested decades ago would still appear futuristic to the public now. Which means somewhere over the desert, people may still occasionally witness shapes and movements they cannot explain. Not because physics has been broken. Because military research often arrives years or decades before public understanding catches up. In 2013, declassified CIA documents officially acknowledged Area 51 for the first time. The release confirmed much of the base's Cold War role in reconnaissance aircraft development. But for many conspiracy theorists, the admission proved something else entirely. If the government lied about Area 51 for decades, why should anyone trust what officials deny today? And there lies the deeper power of the legend. Area 51 survives not because of evidence for aliens, but because secrecy damages trust. Once institutions become associated with concealment, every denial begins sounding suspicious. Even truthful ones. A difficult problem humanity keeps recreating with extraordinary consistency. Today, satellites photograph the facility regularly. Tourists gather along distant highways hoping to glimpse unusual aircraft. Internet investigators analyze every runway expansion and hangar construction project obsessively. Area 51 remains active. Still classified. Still guarded. Still hidden beneath layers of controlled silence. And perhaps that silence itself remains the most important feature of all. Because the less humanity knows about something, the more powerfully imagination fills the void. Somewhere beyond the Nevada mountains, engineers still test machines the public has never seen. Pilots still fly missions hidden from ordinary maps. And behind locked gates in the desert, secrecy continues doing what secrecy has always done best. Creating legends. Every mystery attracts witnesses. Some are honest. Some are mistaken. Some are searching for attention. And some genuinely believe they have seen something the rest of the world has not. Area 51 became a magnet for all of them. By the late 20th century, Area 51 had evolved beyond a classified military facility. It became a stage. A place where secrecy and imagination collided so intensely that separating fact from fiction grew increasingly difficult. And into that atmosphere stepped a series of men claiming extraordinary knowledge. Men who insisted the truth hidden in the Nevada desert was far greater than experimental aircraft. They claimed the government possessed technology not made by human hands. The most famous of these figures was Bob Lazar. In 1989, Lazar appeared anonymously in a television interview before later revealing his identity publicly. His story was astonishing. He claimed he had worked at a secret facility near Area 51 called S4. According to Lazar, the site housed multiple alien spacecraft undergoing reverse engineering by the United States government. He described anti-gravity propulsion systems, exotic elements unknown to science, and vehicles allegedly recovered from extraterrestrial civilizations. The claims spread rapidly through television, radio, magazines, and eventually the Internet. For believers, Lazar became the ultimate whistleblower. For skeptics, he became one more storyteller amplified by Cold War paranoia and public fascination with UFOs. Investigators quickly began examining Lazar's background. Problems emerged almost immediately. Records from universities he claimed to attend could not be verified. Former employers disputed aspects of his story. Journalists uncovered inconsistencies in timelines and credentials. Scientists criticized the technical details of his claims. Yet none of this erased public fascination. Because Lazar offered something powerful. A coherent narrative connecting government secrecy to humanity's oldest cosmic question. Are we alone? And once a story satisfies emotional curiosity, factual weaknesses often become surprisingly irrelevant. A deeply inconvenient feature of human cognition. Still, not everyone dismisses Lazar entirely. Some supporters argue that missing records themselves prove deliberate government suppression. Others point to details in his interviews they believe later gained partial credibility. Decades after his first appearance, debate surrounding his story continues fiercely. Not because evidence resolved the issue. Because it never did. Area 51 thrives precisely in that territory between certainty and doubt. Lazar was not alone. Over the years, numerous former military personnel, contractors, and alleged insiders claimed knowledge of hidden UFO programs. Some described crashed spacecraft. Others spoke of recovered materials displaying impossible properties. A few claimed direct encounters with non-human entities. Many stories contradicted one another. Some collapsed under investigation. Others remained impossible to verify conclusively. But collectively, they built a mythology far larger than any individual testimony. One recurring theme appeared constantly. Reverse engineering. The idea that governments secretly possessed technology beyond modern science and were attempting to understand it behind closed doors. The concept fascinated the public because it merged two powerful fears. First, that extraterrestrial intelligence might exist. Second, that governments would hide transformative discoveries from ordinary people. Given historical examples of classified military research, the second fear already possessed some credibility. Which made the first easier for many people to accept. During the 1990s, UFO culture exploded across global media. Television series like The X-Files transformed government conspiracy into mainstream entertainment. Area 51 became a recurring symbol of hidden truth. Dark hangars. Secret autopsies. Underground laboratories. Officials lying calmly beneath fluorescent lights. The imagery embedded itself deeply into popular culture. Soon, even people with little interest in UFOs recognized the name Area 51 instantly. The base had become modern mythology disguised as military infrastructure. Then came the internet. And everything accelerated. Online forums connected believers worldwide. Old rumors resurfaced constantly. Blurry photographs spread rapidly. Supposed leaked documents circulated endlessly. Every unexplained light in the sky became potential evidence. And because Area 51 remained heavily restricted, verification remained difficult. Mystery survived through distance. Through secrecy. Through the simple fact that most people would never see the facility directly. The less accessible something becomes, the more imagination transforms it. Luxury brands discovered this long ago. Conspiracy culture simply adapted the business model. Meanwhile, actual military secrecy continued feeding speculation unintentionally. The U.S. government genuinely did test classified aircraft for decades. Some programs remained hidden for years before public acknowledgement. Stealth aircraft once sounded impossible too. So when officials denied extraordinary claims about Area 51, skeptics of the government asked an obvious question. Why believe them now? Especially after decades of documented secrecy surrounding other projects. This became the central fuel powering Area 51 mythology. Not evidence of aliens. Distrust of institutions. In recent years, the conversation shifted again. Military pilots began publicly discussing encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena. Videos recorded by Navy aircraft showed strange objects performing unusual maneuvers. Congressional hearings addressed UAPs openly. The Pentagon acknowledged investigating unexplained sightings. Importantly, officials repeatedly stopped short of confirming extraterrestrial origins. But the tone had changed dramatically. For decades, governments mocked UFO discussions publicly. Now governments discussed them seriously. And once authorities begin validating uncertainty itself, public imagination expands rapidly. Some researchers argue that confusion around UFOs occasionally benefited military secrecy intentionally. If civilians mistook classified aircraft for alien craft, officials had little incentive to correct every rumor. In some cases, bizarre speculation may even have served as camouflage. A population distracted by extraterrestrial fantasies pays less attention to reconnaissance technology and weapons development. An oddly clever strategy, if true. Weaponized confusion. Human civilization does seem increasingly talented at producing it. Yet despite all the stories, investigations, interviews, and alleged leaks, one reality remains unchanged. No publicly verified evidence has conclusively proven that Area 51 contains extraterrestrial spacecraft or alien lifeforms. None. That does not stop belief. Because belief surrounding Area 51 no longer depends entirely on evidence. It depends on possibility. On mystery. On the unsettling realization that governments are capable of keeping significant secrets for long periods of time. History proves that much clearly enough. The remaining question becomes: how large could those secrets be? And perhaps that question matters more than any individual claim. Because Area 51 reflects something ancient inside human psychology. The desire to believe hidden knowledge exists somewhere beyond ordinary reach. That behind locked doors, beneath desert mountains, someone understands realities the rest of humanity has not yet discovered. Whether those secrets involve advanced aircraft, surveillance systems, or extraterrestrial life almost becomes secondary. The mystery itself is what people truly protect and pursue. In the Nevada desert, fences still stretch across empty land. Security lights still glow against the mountains. And somewhere beyond them, the silence continues. A silence filled by stories. By suspicion. And by the enduring human need to believe that the universe still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. For decades, people looked toward Area 51 searching for aliens. But hidden inside the Nevada desert was something arguably more important to governments. The future of warfare itself. Long before the world saw stealth bombers crossing television screens during modern wars, engineers inside Area 51 were already reshaping military aviation in secret. The aircraft tested there often appeared impossible to the public because they were designed to look impossible. Not for theatrical effect. For survival. During the Cold War, radar systems grew increasingly sophisticated. Traditional aircraft became easier to detect and destroy. The next generation of military technology required something radically different. Aircraft capable of disappearing. The concept sounded absurd initially. An airplane invisible to radar. But by the 1970s, advances in mathematics, materials science, and computer modeling allowed engineers to explore shapes capable of scattering radar waves away from detection systems. The result looked unlike any previous aircraft. Sharp angles. Flat surfaces. Dark geometric forms. Machines that resembled science fiction more than aviation. And naturally, civilians who glimpsed them during secret test flights often assumed they were not human creations at all. One of the most famous projects developed through Area 51 operations became the Lockheed F-117 Nighthawk. Although publicly revealed in the late 1980s, the aircraft had flown secretly for years beforehand. At night, the Nighthawk moved across Nevada skies in total secrecy. Silent. Angular. Almost unnatural in silhouette. Witnesses described glowing triangular shapes hovering above desert valleys. To people unfamiliar with stealth technology, alien explanations seemed reasonable. Especially when military officials refused to comment. Again. Humanity repeatedly mistakes classified engineering for extraterrestrial intervention. Slightly flattering to engineers, honestly. Area 51 also became linked to testing involving advanced drone technologies, electronic warfare systems, and reconnaissance platforms still poorly understood publicly. Some aviation historians believe many aircraft tested there remain officially unacknowledged even today. Black projects. Programs funded through hidden budgets. Systems compartmentalized so tightly that even government officials outside certain circles knew little about them. The phrase, black budget, entered popular culture almost like mythology itself. Secret money for secret machines hidden inside secret facilities. A remarkably dramatic way to organize paperwork. Among the most legendary aircraft associated with the facility was the State Route 71 Blackbird. Capable of speeds above Mach 3, the Blackbird represented one of the greatest engineering achievements of the Cold War. Pilots described watching the sky darken as they climbed toward the edge of space. The aircraft flew so fast that heat from air friction expanded its metal skin during flight. Fuel leaked from the aircraft while parked on the ground because components only sealed properly after heating at high speed. Machines like the Blackbird blurred the line between aviation and science fiction. And when ordinary civilians occasionally glimpsed such aircraft overhead, UFO rumors spread almost automatically. But Area 51's true importance extended beyond individual aircraft. The facility represented a philosophy. A belief that technological superiority could determine global power. Whoever controlled the skies controlled intelligence gathering. Surveillance. Deterrence. Possibly survival itself. During the Cold War, both the United States and Soviet Union pursued military innovation with near-obsessive urgency. Fear accelerated invention. As it often does. Human beings achieve astonishing technological progress once convinced another group of humans might destroy them first. Inside Area 51, engineers worked under extraordinary pressure. Projects operated on strict timelines. Failures carried enormous political and strategic consequences. Many technologies developed there pushed beyond existing scientific boundaries. Experimental propulsion systems. Advanced materials. Electronic countermeasures. Radar-absorbent coatings. Some prototypes failed spectacularly. Crashes occurred. Pilots died. But secrecy ensured most incidents never reached public awareness. The desert buried mistakes quietly. Rumors surrounding impossible aircraft intensified during the 1980s and 1990s. Observers described silent black triangles. Objects accelerating rapidly. Craft hovering unnaturally. Some reports likely involved optical illusions or exaggeration. Others may have involved genuine military prototypes. One persistent legend centered around a supposed aircraft nicknamed Aurora. Allegedly a hypersonic reconnaissance plane capable of speeds far beyond conventional jets. No confirmed evidence proving Aurora's existence has ever emerged publicly. Yet speculation continues. Because Area 51 created an environment where almost any rumor feels plausible. And because governments occasionally deny real projects until decades later. A habit that complicates credibility rather severely. The rise of satellite imagery changed secrecy permanently. By the late 20th century, civilians could examine parts of Area 51 using commercial satellite services. Runways expanded. Hangars appeared. Construction projects became visible from orbit. Yet even with global surveillance technology, much remained unknown. Satellite images reveal structures. Not intentions. Not missions. Not what disappears behind hangar doors at night. Mystery adapted to the digital age instead of disappearing. Then came a new era of warfare. Drones. Autonomous systems. Artificial intelligence. Stealth no longer represented the final frontier. Modern military development increasingly focused on systems capable of operating faster than human reaction times. Some analysts believe facilities connected to Area 51 continue testing next-generation aerospace systems involving hypersonic flight and autonomous combat technologies. The details remain classified. But history suggests one certainty. By the time the public learns about certain military technologies, newer systems already exist behind closed doors. Area 51 thrives precisely in that gap between invention and revelation. At the same time, public fascination shifted from Cold War espionage toward broader existential questions. If governments possessed technology decades ahead of public knowledge before, what might they possess now? Could some sightings genuinely represent breakthroughs unknown to civilian science? Could foreign adversaries possess similar systems? Or could some phenomena remain unexplained even to military experts themselves? These uncertainties became increasingly significant after the Pentagon publicly acknowledged investigations into unidentified aerial phenomena. Not alien confirmation, but official admission that some objects observed by trained military personnel remain difficult to identify conclusively. And uncertainty, once again, became fertile ground for speculation. Yet despite the mythology, one truth remains central to Area 51's history. The technologies developed there were created by human beings. Engineers, pilots, scientists, mathematicians. Not extraterrestrials descending from the stars. Humanity itself proved capable of building machines so advanced they appeared impossible to ordinary observers. Which may actually be more unsettling. Because if humans created technologies capable of inspiring UFO myths decades ago, what might modern systems already be capable of now? The Nevada desert still hides runways invisible from public roads. Aircraft still rise silently into restricted skies. Some probably belong to programs the world will not learn about for years. Others may never become public at all. And somewhere inside secured hangars, engineers continue chasing the same objective that created Area 51 in the first place. Stay ahead. Stay hidden. Stay untouchable. Across the desert night, strange lights still move beyond the mountains. Some belong to myths. Some belong to machines. And somewhere between the two, Area 51 continues building the future in silence. Secrets create curiosity. Curiosity creates stories. And stories, repeated long enough, begin transforming into belief. Area 51 did not become legendary by accident. It became legendary because modern society was perfectly designed to make legend spread. By the late 20th century, Area 51 had escaped the boundaries of military secrecy entirely. It entered popular culture. And once a secret becomes entertainment, it stops belonging solely to governments. It belongs to everyone. Movies imagined underground alien laboratories. Television documentaries blended fact with speculation. Books promised hidden truths censored by world powers. Soon, Area 51 no longer represented merely a place in Nevada. It became shorthand for conspiracy itself. A symbol suggesting reality was always incomplete. That somewhere behind official explanations, deeper truths waited hidden. The timing mattered. During the 1970s and 1980s, public trust in governments declined sharply across much of the world. Political scandals. Intelligence abuses. Covert operations exposed publicly. Citizens discovered that governments genuinely had lied about major issues before. Sometimes repeatedly. And once trust fractures, conspiracy theories gain fertile ground. Because people stop asking, could authorities hide something? And begin asking, how much are they hiding already? Area 51 emerged directly into that atmosphere of suspicion. The Cold War intensified everything. Nuclear anxiety shaped an entire generation psychologically. Children practiced nuclear attack drills in schools. Television warned constantly about global annihilation. Espionage dominated headlines. The idea that secret military programs existed beyond public understanding felt not only believable, but expected. And in that climate, UFO mythology merged naturally with fears about surveillance, hidden weapons, and state secrecy. Aliens became intertwined with politics. Not merely visitors from space, but symbols of hidden power. Then entertainment amplified the mythology globally. Films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and later Independence Day transformed Area 51 into cinematic legend. Audiences saw giant hangars concealing extraterrestrial spacecraft beneath armed guard. Secret experiments. Recovered alien technology. Government cover-ups extending across generations. The imagery embedded itself deeply into public imagination. And once millions visualize the same myth repeatedly, the myth acquires emotional reality. Even without evidence. Humans are wonderfully susceptible to repetition wrapped in dramatic music. Television accelerated the phenomenon further. Especially shows like The X-Files. Week after week, audiences watched fictional investigators uncover conspiracies hidden beneath official narratives. The slogan, "Trust no one," became cultural shorthand for an entire worldview. Governments concealed truth. Scientists were silenced. Witnesses disappeared. Area 51 stood at the center of that fictional universe because it already carried decades of real secrecy behind it. The perfect setting. A real place already surrounded by unanswered questions. Then came the internet. And conspiracy culture evolved permanently. Before the internet, rumors spread slowly through books, television specials, and word of mouth. Online communication changed everything. Suddenly, believers across continents connected instantly. Documents circulated globally within hours. Blurry photographs became evidence. Anonymous testimony spread unchecked. And algorithms discovered something profoundly important about human psychology. Fear and mystery generate attention extraordinarily well. Especially mysteries involving hidden power. Area 51 forums exploded with theories. Alien autopsies. Underground tunnels. Secret wars. Recovered spacecraft. Interdimensional beings. Theories merged together constantly. One rumor fed another. And because official information remained limited, disproving claims became difficult. Silence once again strengthened mythology. Not intentionally, perhaps. But effectively. At the same time, genuine historical secrecy fueled public suspicion further. Governments truly had conducted classified experiments before. Covert intelligence operations. Psychological warfare programs. Secret weapons research. Some remained hidden for decades before public discovery. So conspiracy theorists argued. If authorities concealed real operations previously, why dismiss extraordinary claims now? This became one of the strongest psychological foundations supporting Area 51 mythology. Not evidence of aliens. Historical precedent for secrecy. The rise of digital media blurred reality even further. Edited videos. Fake leaked documents. Manipulated photographs. Claims spread faster than investigations could debunk them. And emotionally satisfying stories consistently outperformed boring explanations involving radar anomalies or classified aircraft development. Humanity repeatedly demonstrates preference for cosmic drama over technical briefings. Disappointing for engineers. Excellent for YouTube channels. Meanwhile, some governments unintentionally strengthened UFO culture through inconsistent messaging. Military agencies occasionally dismissed sightings publicly while investigating them privately. Official reports contradicted one another. Statements changed over time. And whenever institutions appear uncertain, conspiracy theories rush in to organize the confusion. Because uncertainty is uncomfortable. People prefer impossible certainty over unresolved ambiguity surprisingly often. In 2019, the Internet transformed Area 51 mythology into mass spectacle. A joke Facebook event titled "Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us" attracted millions of responses. The idea was absurd. Thousands of civilians rushing a classified military installation searching for aliens. Yet the event spread globally. Memes flooded social media. News organizations covered it seriously. The U.S. Air Force issued warnings against trespassing. Eventually, only small crowds appeared in Nevada. Mostly tourists, Internet personalities, and curious spectators. No alien spacecraft emerged. Humanity did, however, once again demonstrate astonishing confidence in approaching armed military facilities for entertainment purposes. A species committed fully to improvisation. Yet beneath the jokes, something deeper remained visible. People wanted Area 51 to contain mysteries. Wanted hidden truths to exist. Because modern life often feels disappointingly explainable. Bills. Traffic. Algorithms. Corporate emails. The idea that somewhere beyond ordinary existence lies something extraordinary remains emotionally powerful. Area 51 became a modern mythological frontier. A place where the unknown still seemed possible. But conspiracy culture carries consequences too. Distrust can become addictive. Once people begin believing every institution hides the truth, objective reality itself becomes unstable. Evidence loses meaning. Contradictions strengthen belief instead of weakening it. And eventually, secrecy becomes impossible to separate from fantasy. Area 51 exists precisely at that intersection. Part real history. Part Cold War secrecy. Part entertainment. Part collective imagination. Today, the mythology continues evolving. Podcasts analyze alleged whistleblower testimony. Online communities study satellite images obsessively. Government hearings about unidentified aerial phenomena generate global headlines. And across the Internet, millions continue debating what truly exists beyond the fences in Nevada. Perhaps advanced aircraft. Perhaps experimental systems decades ahead of public technology. Perhaps nothing beyond ordinary military secrecy amplified by decades of storytelling. Or perhaps, for many people, the uncertainty itself matters more than the answer ever could. Because mysteries give imagination room to survive. And modern civilization leaves surprisingly little room for mystery anymore. In the desert beyond Las Vegas, the warning signs still stand. Cameras still watch empty roads. And somewhere behind the mountains, Area 51 remains hidden beneath the oldest force shaping human history. The desire to know what lies beyond the horizon. Beneath every story about Area 51. Beneath every conspiracy theory, every blurry photograph, every unexplained light in the desert sky, lies a far older question. Are we alone in the universe? Long before governments built secret military bases. Long before radar, aircraft, or satellites. Human beings already stared into the night sky searching for signs of something beyond themselves. Ancient civilizations mapped stars with astonishing precision. Myths described beings descending from the heavens. Religions imagined messengers arriving from above. The sky became humanity's oldest screen for projection. Hope, fear, meaning, and eventually, extraterrestrials. By the 20th century, science transformed those ancient questions into measurable possibilities. Astronomers discovered that the universe contained billions of galaxies. Each galaxy holding billions of stars. Many stars likely surrounded by planets. Suddenly, the idea of life elsewhere no longer seemed absurd. It seemed statistically plausible. Possibly inevitable. The universe had become too large for humanity to feel comfortably unique. An emotionally difficult adjustment for a species deeply attached to starring roles. Then came the space age. The launch of Sputnik 1 changed human civilization permanently. For the first time, objects built by humans entered orbit. Soon afterward, astronauts walked on the moon. Space transformed from fantasy into destination. And alongside scientific excitement came a growing cultural obsession. If humans could reach space, could something else have reached Earth first? During the Cold War, UFO reports merged naturally with these anxieties and ambitions. Experimental aircraft created genuine confusion. Governments concealed classified technologies. Popular culture embraced alien narratives enthusiastically. By the 1970s, extraterrestrials had become central figures in global entertainment. Friendly visitors. Hostile invaders. Wise cosmic observers. Area 51 absorbed all these projections simultaneously. It became the imagined doorway between humanity and the unknown universe beyond Earth. Yet despite decades of speculation, mainstream science remained cautious. Extraordinary claims required extraordinary evidence. And evidence remained frustratingly absent. No confirmed alien spacecraft. No verified extraterrestrial communication. No public proof of non-human intelligence visiting Earth. Still, scientists continued searching seriously for life elsewhere. Not through conspiracy theories. Through astronomy. Physics. Biology. And mathematics. Projects like SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, scanned the cosmos for unusual radio signals. Mars missions searched for signs of ancient microbial life. Space telescopes identified planets orbiting distant stars. By the early 21st century, astronomers confirmed thousands of exoplanets across the galaxy. Some located within habitable zones where liquid water might exist. The scientific possibility of extraterrestrial life grew stronger continuously. Even while direct evidence remained elusive. Then, unexpectedly, governments reopened the UFO conversation publicly. In 2017, leaked military videos showed Navy pilots tracking strange aerial objects displaying unusual movement patterns. The footage spread globally. Pilots described objects accelerating rapidly, hovering without visible propulsion, and maneuvering in ways difficult to explain immediately. The Pentagon later confirmed the videos were authentic recordings of unidentified aerial phenomena. Not necessarily alien. Simply unidentified. An important distinction repeated constantly by officials and almost completely ignored by portions of the Internet. Suddenly, UFO discussions moved from fringe culture back into mainstream political conversation. Congressional hearings examined military encounters with unexplained objects. Defense officials acknowledged ongoing investigations into UAPs. NASA launched independent studies examining aerial anomalies scientifically. For the first time in decades, institutions treated the subject with cautious seriousness rather than open ridicule. And public fascination exploded again. Because official uncertainty itself became headline news. Importantly, most scientists and defense analysts proposed far more grounded explanations than extraterrestrial visitation. Sensor errors. Optical illusions. Atmospheric effects. Foreign surveillance technology. Classified military systems. The skies contain countless opportunities for misinterpretation, especially under stressful operational conditions. Pilots are highly trained observers. But human perception remains imperfect. Particularly at high speeds and long distances. The brain often fills gaps in information automatically. A feature useful for survival. Less useful for identifying mysterious objects moving across radar screens at 30,000 feet. Yet some sightings remain difficult to explain conclusively. And unresolved cases fuel speculation endlessly. Because uncertainty possesses immense psychological power. People tolerate frightening certainty more easily than unresolved ambiguity. An alien invasion with clear instructions would emotionally destabilize humanity less than decades of unanswered questions, honestly. At least invasions have structure. Mystery simply lingers. Meanwhile, Area 51 remained connected to the conversation constantly. Even without evidence linking the base to extraterrestrials directly, its symbolism endured. A hidden place. Restricted. Secretive. Associated with advanced technology. Perfect for theories involving recovered spacecraft or concealed discoveries. The less publicly known about the facility, the more easily imagination occupied the empty spaces. And governments continued revealing information slowly, often decades after events occurred. Which only reinforced suspicion further. But perhaps the most important question surrounding extraterrestrial life is not technological. It is philosophical. What would happen if humanity discovered intelligent life beyond Earth? Religions would confront profound questions. Governments would scramble for control of information. Science would transform overnight. Human identity itself might change. For thousands of years, civilizations viewed humanity as central to existence. Proof of alien intelligence would permanently alter that perspective. We would become one species among many. A deeply humbling possibility. Potentially healthy, frankly. Some scientists argue intelligent extraterrestrial life almost certainly exists somewhere in the universe. Others caution that cosmic distances make direct contact extraordinarily unlikely. The galaxy is vast beyond comprehension. Signals weaken across unimaginable space. Civilizations may rise and disappear before encountering one another. Humanity may simply be listening during the wrong moment. Or asking the wrong questions entirely. Then comes the unsettling possibility known as the Fermi paradox. If intelligent life should be common statistically, where is everyone? Why has humanity found no definitive evidence? Some theories suggest advanced civilizations destroy themselves before expanding far into space. Others argue intelligent life may be incredibly rare. Or perhaps civilizations avoid contact intentionally. A cosmic wilderness where silence itself carries meaning. Not exactly comforting possibilities. Still, the search continues. Astronomers scan distant atmospheres for chemical signs of life. Spacecraft explore icy moons hiding underground oceans. Scientists analyze mysterious radio bursts from deep space. And across the world, millions continue watching the skies. Hoping. Wondering. Searching for evidence that humanity is not alone. Area 51 became part of that search not because it proved alien existence, but because it represented the possibility that someone, somewhere, might already know more than the public does. And possibility can become more powerful than proof. Above the Nevada desert, the night sky remains endless. Beyond it stretch billions of stars. Billions of worlds. Somewhere in that darkness, life may already exist. Waiting. Searching. Or perhaps, watching humanity wonder whether it is finally ready for the truth. For more than half a century, Area 51 has existed between reality and myth. A military base. A conspiracy symbol. A cultural obsession. But after decades of secrecy, speculation, and fear, one question still remains. What is the truth? The truth about Area 51 is both less fantastic, and more revealing, than many people expected. No verified evidence has ever proven the existence of alien spacecraft hidden beneath the Nevada desert. No confirmed extraterrestrial bodies. No public proof of reverse-engineered technology from another civilization. After decades of investigations, leaks, rumors, documentaries, and whistleblower claims, the strongest evidence still points towards something entirely human. Advanced military research protected by extreme secrecy. And perhaps that alone was enough to create the legend. Because Area 51 was born during one of the most paranoid periods in modern history. The Cold War transformed secrecy into survival. Governments feared espionage constantly. Nuclear war seemed possible at any moment. Technological superiority became a matter of national security. Inside that environment, hidden facilities like Area 51 were inevitable. The United States needed isolated locations to test revolutionary aircraft without Soviet observation. So they built them. And then denied they existed. That denial changed everything. Once the government spent decades refusing to acknowledge the base publicly, trust eroded naturally. People began asking difficult questions. If officials concealed this facility, what else might they hide? The secrecy surrounding real military programs unintentionally created perfect conditions for conspiracy theories to flourish. And once conspiracy culture attached itself to Area 51, separating myth from reality became almost impossible. Ironically, many UFO sightings connected to Area 51 probably did involve technology genuinely beyond public understanding at the time. The U-2 spy plane once looked impossible. So did stealth aircraft. So did hypersonic prototypes. Civilian witnesses observing classified aircraft decades ahead of public aviation naturally struggled to explain what they saw. Especially when authorities refused to provide answers. Alien explanations filled the vacuum left behind by official silence. Human imagination rarely tolerates empty spaces for long. And yet, the mythology survived not simply because of secrecy, but because it connected to something deeper inside human nature. Curiosity, fear, wonder. The desire to believe hidden truths exist beyond ordinary life. Area 51 became a modern mythology for a technological civilization. Ancient societies built legends around forbidden temples and distant mountains. Modern societies built them around military bases and classified documents. Different architecture. Same psychological machinery. The internet transformed that mythology into a global phenomenon. Rumors spread instantly. Communities formed around shared belief. Algorithms rewarded mystery and outrage. And slowly, conspiracy itself became entertainment. For some people, Area 51 represented hope that humanity was not alone. For others, proof that governments could never be trusted fully. For many, it simply represented mystery in a world increasingly mapped, measured, and explained. A remaining blank spot in modern civilization. At the same time, the real technological achievements connected to Area 51 remained extraordinary. Aircraft capable of crossing continents at impossible speeds. Stealth systems redefining warfare. Surveillance technologies altering geopolitics permanently. The engineers and pilots working there reshaped military history from behind closed doors. Not through alien science. Through mathematics. Physics. Human ingenuity driven by fear and competition. Which may be the most important lesson of all. Human beings themselves are capable of creating technologies that appear almost supernatural to earlier generations. Still, the deeper questions surrounding Area 51 never truly disappeared. Are we alone? Despite all the myths surrounding the base, science continues searching seriously for extraterrestrial life elsewhere in the universe. And statistically, many researchers believe intelligent life likely exists beyond Earth. The cosmos is simply too vast for certainty otherwise. Yet no confirmed contact has occurred publicly. No verified alien message. Only silence. At least so far. Perhaps that silence explains why Area 51 became so emotionally powerful. It offered a narrative where the mystery was already solved somewhere behind locked doors. Where someone knew the answers. Where humanity's loneliness in the universe had already ended secretly. That idea comforted people. And frightened them simultaneously. Because hidden truths always carry two possibilities. Liberation. Or loss of control. Today, Area 51 remains active. Restricted airspace still surrounds the facility. Security patrols still monitor the desert. New hangars continue appearing in satellite images. And somewhere beyond public view, classified projects likely continue shaping the future of military technology. That part is not conspiracy. It is history repeating itself. The world's most powerful governments still build secrets. They always will. But perhaps the greatest secret surrounding Area 51 was never hidden inside the base itself. Perhaps it existed inside humanity all along. The need to believe that beyond the horizon lies something greater than ordinary life. Something unknown. Something extraordinary. Because mystery gives meaning to curiosity. And curiosity is one of the few forces powerful enough to push civilization forward. Even when it occasionally drives people to attempt storming military installations for internet memes. A sentence previous centuries would have found medically concerning. In the end, Area 51 became more than a place. It became a mirror. Reflecting humanity's fears about power. Its distrust of authority. Its fascination with the unknown. And its endless desire to search the skies for answers. Whether those answers come from advanced aircraft, or distant stars. Beyond the Nevada mountains, the lights still move through the darkness. Some belong to secret machines built by human hands. Others remain unexplained. And somewhere beneath the endless night sky, humanity continues asking the same ancient question it has always asked. What else is out there?